Hey guys, this is George with Firehouse Music, and today I want to talk about the difference between playing and practicing. A lot of the time students, they go home, after their lesson, and they think they've practiced, right, for a number of hours, and then they come back and they feel like they're not any better, and most of the time they're only a little bit better. Generally, when that happens, it's because the student is confusing playing with practicing. And playing, you're going to tend to gravitate towards things that are fun for you, the things that you can already do. So you're not going to get much better because you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And because of the law of diminishing returns, you're kind of maxed out on that. So it's, I can play the pentatonic scale forever, and I'm probably not going to get much better at that. But then if I begin to practice other things, other finger patterns, then I might get better. Now, when you're practicing in general is not very fun, because what it does is it targets your ego. And essentially, you're going to be doing the things that you're having a hard time with. Let's say, for instance, that, and I'm going to grab a guitar for this. Let's say that you're having difficulty playing a chord change, right? So, just for the sake of argument, let's say that you're struggling with changing from a D chord to a G chord, right? And that is extremely difficult for you. Well, if you want to practice, what you want to do is you want to do that thing that's difficult. So I wouldn't even spend the time strumming the chords, but instead focus on the change. So if you look at, and this is a concrete case, this can apply to anything, but just for the sake of this example, I would just practice the movement, right? The change. Why do anything else? Practice the change first and get the movement as efficient as possible. See, then you can begin to maybe strum the chord once. Right? And if this is something that you're struggling with, right, then doing that is not going to be very fun. And you're not going to be able to do it for 2 hours. Right? When somebody tells me, like, I'll practice for 2 hours, I'm already a little skeptical. Because really, it's doing the things that you're struggling with is extremely demanding, not just physically, like sometimes your hand hurts if you're doing like something that's a particular stretch or something. But it's also demanding mentally. So you might be able to do it for an hour, 50 minutes, and then it feels like homework. You're spent, you're exhausted. For most students, actually, focused practice like that, I would say 20 to 30 minutes is good, then take a break, go do something else. And then, if you have more time, then come back for a second session and get in your extra 30 minutes if you want to put in an hour a day. And then you'll be doing great. So what do you do with the rest of your time? Well, now you can play. If you got the practice out of the way, guitar shouldn't be a chore. Or, let's say guitar, because I play the guitar, but you could apply this to any other instrument. It shouldn't be a chore. So yeah, you have the demanding stuff that's going to make you better. But then as a reward, because you want to build that habit, right? Then do something fun, whatever that may be. And if you're a beginner, that might be just playing some power chords or some distortion, make some noise, right? But then later you might be playing things you're comfortable with, maybe jamming with a backing track or jamming with a friend, playing through a blues progression, whatever the thing that makes you excited, reminds you why you're playing the guitar, right? But during your practice, you do want to spend the time on the things that you're having a difficult time with. That's the main difference between playing and practicing. Now, the other thing that people have a hard time with is how to structure the practice session. If you're a beginner, then probably 100% of your time needs to be spent on technique. Because if you're not able to make sounds with your hands properly, then you can't do anything. But if you're an intermediate to advanced player, that's when things get foggy. That's when people they get paralysis by choice, because there's so many things to do that you don't know. And at one point, I remember listening to John Petrucci, and it's a pretty awesome video, Rock Discipline. Check it out. And what he was talking about developing a filing cabinet system where he would have, different lessons and things that he would just put in the filing cabinet. Well, the problem with that system, with me at least, it just turned into this gigantic thing. And I was still having a hard time managing all that material. So what I found is better is to just keep things simple. And music is nearly infinite when it comes to playing. So just think of the main categories that will help you reach your goals. Now, for me, because I'm a teacher and I'm a musician, I have a number of categories. Things like ear training. I need to keep up with my sight reading. I need to be able to improvise. I need to continue to work on my technique, because if I don't, then it goes away. I need to continue to expand my knowledge of chords, my knowledge of scales. Right, and that's already 6 categories. And at one point, I think I had something like 10. But whatever that is, then just take that and make sure that you're ticking the boxes every week, not every day. That's the other thing. If you think, oh man, I have 10 different categories that I have to hit on a single practice session, then you're either practicing for each thing for like 5 minutes, which is not very effective, or you get overwhelmed because you feel like, man, I have to hit all these things in the day. I don't have enough time. I can't practice. And then now practicing becomes a difficult thing that you don't want to do. Instead, think of, okay, I have 20 minutes right now. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to do 10 minutes on this one thing and then 10 minutes on this other thing. And they should be things from 2 different categories, right? And this is assuming that you're an intermediate player. Like, for instance, let's say that you are somebody who just wants to play songs. Right? That's the majority of the students that come here. They want to play the songs by their favorite artists, right? So you need to be spending half of your time developing your technique and half of your time learning songs. Because you don't want to be the guy that can just noodle on the guitar, and when your friends come over and they tell you like, hey, play something, you don't know what to play. So then you take 10 minutes and you spend that time working on whatever, if you have a teacher, whatever your lesson was. If you are working on your own, then whatever technical aspect you're trying to develop. And then the other 10 minutes, spend it learning a song to increase your repertoire. And then keep a list of that, and you sort of maintain it, and you develop that way. If you have more categories, then then hit them tomorrow or on your future section. If you're doing 2 sessions a day, then do 10 to 15 minutes on each one of those things. So you hit 4 things in one day. And then tomorrow you do the other 4. And now you're hitting 8 different things. And then you can rotate them just the same way you do it. Like if you're doing a weightlifting protocol, it's the same thing. You're rotating your workouts, right? You're rotating your practices. And if you follow that process, you'll be surprised what you'll be able to achieve. And then look back in a year and see like where you were last year and where you're at now. And you continue to develop that, right? So that's pretty much all I have to say about this. So remember, playing is not practicing, right? And try and get structured and organized with your practice sessions. So that's it for today. And as always, don't forget to subscribe on the button down there. See you guys next time.